that she was unflappable. There wasn't anything that they said or came after her with that she couldn't handle, and she just answered the questions professionally, directly, politely, and that's what we need to do, have that level of discourse. She's showing that, even though they're not being respectful on the other side, she is rising up to the occasion. I thought really handling herself unbelievably well. So let's talk about the members of the media. Do you think they're being a little bit hypocritical for being outraged over this? And you bring up the point about Shakespeare in the play and Shakespeare in the Park, the play, and also Kathy Griffin, things like that. They don't seem to be, up in arms over that, looking to defend that, to say, well, this is outrageous, we shouldn't have this kind of behavior, that it's disrespectful or dangerous to the president, yet they're upset about this parody tweet that he did.
Well, Kimberly, you and I have both been in the public eye enough to know that when we read a story that's written about us, we know whether it's true journalism for a simple reason. If we read it and we don't know whether the reporter likes us or not, that's real journalism. If when reading the story about yourself you say, gosh, that guy hates me, or that person who wrote that really likes me, that's not journalism.
Right.
Because you should not have any idea whether or not that person likes you or not. Can I mention one thing? I think my daughter is handling some of this real well because she's got 3 preschoolers at home, and so she's used to dealing with petulant children who ask the same question over and over, hoping to get a different answer, the one that they want. And so maybe that's part of the reason that she's able to stay flat-footed, look those folks in the eye and handle it.
Well, and of course, having a father who's been in politics, I think she's got that kind of experience and background to know the type of things that the press will sling at you, the smear pieces, the hit pieces, trying to go after you, the personal attacks. And I think it's one of the reasons why, she's used to dealing with them, and she understands, how they behave. But let's talk a little bit more about CNN. Again, they're outraged this weekend over the president's, wrestling tweet, but they themselves deserve to be criticized after getting stories wrong and really unrelenting, constant negative coverage of the Trump administration and trying to push a false narrative with the Russian collusion story where there is not one fact to support it.
They've pushed that story. Jake Tapper had to admit that he held up a copy of the National Enquirer on air that didn't exist. It was fake news. They had to fire or ask for the resignations of 3 of their people because of improper and unethical behavior. I mean, this is a network that really is in a meltdown. It has nothing to do with Donald Trump. It has to do with their inability to be objective. The one thing we expect out of our press is that you just report the news. Let us make up our minds how we feel about it. You don't have to lead us. We don't need that help. We're not that incapable of coming to our own conclusions. And because the press is trying to spoon feed us, remember Mika Brzezinski, that she's going to tell us what we ought to feel and how we ought to believe about something? Well, no, that's not the press's job. The freedom of the press only works when there is a responsibility of the press to be objective. And when they start acting that way, they might get a little respect, but right now they're about as popular as the Zika virus from a mosquito.
Absolutely, absolutely.